Hello, this is Dadal. This time, the game we're going to try is World Wrestling Federation WrestleFest. It's a true masterpiece wrestling game made by Technos Japan. Up to 4 players can play, and there are 2 game modes. One is a regular tag match, and the other is the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is a mode where 6 people fight in the ring, aiming to win by pinfall or by throwing opponents out. I chose Warrior, Hulk, and Hogan. The reason I chose them is not only because Warrior is a top performing character, but also because both of them are the greatest superstars, so I picked them. The first opponents are $1 Million Man and Mr. Perfect. Dollar Man is seen as one of WWE's top villains. Professional wrestling experts also say that the $1 Million Man gimmick is rated as the best villain gimmick of the 1980s. He inspired the modern JBL character. But while JBL is a fun gimmick with a bit of a goofy side, the Dollar Man is just a classic, downright obnoxious villain. If he had only stuck to playing his gimmick, he could never have become the best. Because he was a technician who could take hits spectacularly and perform flashy moves, he also gave off the vibe of being the final boss of his era. Currently, he is said to be working as an agent for WWE. Uniquely, he is active in church religious activities and serves as a preacher. There's debate about whether he was truly wealthy as the $1 Million Man, but he says he was just following the rules. Let's wrap up the story of the Dollar Man here, and I'll talk about Perfect in the second episode. Legion of Doom, the tag team mode's final boss, appears on screen. This time, the opponent is Demolition, a tag team that reigned at the top before Legion of Doom. They held the WWE Championship longer than any other team. But since the developer of this game is Technos Japan, unlike in real life, this team is significantly nerfed in the game. Without Legion of Doom, Demolition would have been the final boss. The reason is probably because Legion of Doom was known as the Road Warriors and held the tag team championship in All Japan Pro Wrestling, so their recognition in Japan was much higher. In the game, original member X is missing, but later members Crush and the newer Smash, Barry Darsow, appear. Since Randy, the original actor for Smash, had a very short career, Smash is generally known as Barry. There's another interesting fact. 1 year after this game was released, Smash and Crush faced each other. Crush was thoroughly defeated in a one-sided match. Jake takes on Big Boss Man next. He uses the most useless flying ring kick in the game as his dash move. It was effective and high-performing before, but now it's been nerfed too much. He's also considered one of the most terrifying wrestlers in WWE history. And because he was also very eloquent, he was destined to be a superstar. He may not have headlined main events in his era, but no one can say he wasn't a superstar. But there's one strange thing about his career. He never won a title. If we had to give him a title, it would be something like the King Without a Crown. He was the undeniable superstar and also the person Stone Cold respected and followed most. He went through a troubled family background and overcame drug addiction, and if you hear his story, even the toughest man might shed a tear. Born in 1955, he debuted in All Elite Wrestling, creating an amazing moment. He said he was taught never to turn his back on someone he respects or fears, yet he leaves with his back to his opponent. Isn't that just so cool? And even if you don't know professional wrestling, DDT is a move that everyone recognizes. Jake is actually the creator of the DDT, but for now, I'll wrap up Jake's explosive story here. This time, the opponents are Earthquake and Sergeant Slaughter. Earthquake was a big man who showed powerful matches using his physical size of 2 meters 1 centimeter and 212 kilograms. However, in the game, he doesn't have any particularly stronger power, and instead his speed is lower, so even skilled players find it hard to use him, placing him in the weak tier. Although born in 1963 and not very old, he died in 2006. Before his pro wrestling debut, he was an amateur wrestler and won a National Collegiate Athletic Association championship. And in 1985, he went to Japan and did sumo wrestling, not just casually, but he even reached the rank of Rikishi. After retiring from sumo wrestling, he joined All Japan Pro Wrestling in 1987 and was supported by then-president Giant Baba. And when he returned to the United States in 1989, he signed with the World Wrestling Federation and became the Earthquake we know today. Due to his immense power, he always overpowered Hulk Hogan, but thanks to Hogan's cheat move, the Hulk Up, he would ultimately lose. After leaving the World Wrestling Federation, he wandered around Japan and Mexico before returning to the United States and signing with World Championship Wrestling, but as his role diminished over time, he eventually left World Championship Wrestling as well. He returned to the World Wrestling Federation in 1998 as Golga, but disappeared after his stable members were released. After retiring, he was diagnosed with bladder cancer and passed away on June 7, 2006. Finally, the boss, Legion of Doom. Normally, you can't choose this team, but on some bootleg boards, player 3 or 4 could select them if you continue. Actually, Legion of Doom is a bit tough to face head-on, so it's easiest to fight dirty after getting out of the ring. But since this is still the first playthrough, I'll clear it using the normal method. WrestleFest's 1991 release marked the Legion of Doom era. In 1991, they beat Demolition in January, Power and Glory in March, the Nasty Boys in August, and the Natural Disasters in October. For reference, Earthquake is a member of the Natural Disasters. As I mentioned earlier, this team originally performed as the Road Warriors, but they probably changed their name because of the Ultimate Warrior. With their impressive muscles, outfits reminiscent of post-apocalyptic warriors, and intense face paint, they gained tremendous popularity. He just got thrown out of the ring. It's only the first round, so I'll get up and fight again. The real face of World Wrestling Federation was shown during the 1990 SummerSlam when Demolition and the Hart Foundation fought for the Tag Team Championships. At this time, Demolition was active as a 3-man team. This match was a best 2 out of 3 falls, and the score was tied at 1-1. At first, only Smash and Crush from Demolition participated in the match, and right before the 3rd fall, Demolition's axe went under the ring. After that, the Demolition members would secretly switch places with the wrestler under the ring whenever they got tired, showing some sneaky tactics. The Legion of Doom appeared, destroyed Demolition, and helped the Hart Foundation win. What I just told you marks the true start of the Legion of Doom's main work in the World Wrestling Federation. The Hart Foundation lost the belts to the Nasty Boys, who were then defeated by the Legion of Doom for the championship. And that's how the first run ended. Next, I'll continue with the second run and talk about the characters I couldn't introduce before as we keep playing the game. But even now, the Warrior still looks really cool. This time, Demolition is showing up as the opponent on the first day. Maybe it's just me, but it definitely feels harder than the first time. For the first time, I'm even taking damage from the computer. If I get the chance, I'll have to switch to Hulk. Why aren't the kids going in? Why are they fighting? If you get on the ropes against the central processing unit, you'll be safe. So after knocking the enemy down like this, you can safely tag as well. I ended up showing off a cool tag technique too. Honestly, I didn't mean to do it. It just happened by accident. I didn't want to let them tag, but unfortunately, I missed the chance. Punches often land better when thrown while gradually stepping back. A low stamina friend won the struggle and pulled me away, but I got hit by something huge. It felt unfair. Our warrior's giving his all down there. I rarely lose like this, but I ran out of stamina today.
One, two, three, four, five.
I thought I could finish it, but it's really persistent. Hogan's finishing move. I'll give you a taste of it. Did you get up? It's already tough from the very first day of the second round. On the second day, it's Earthquake and Mr. Perfect. Since we've already talked about Earthquake, let's talk about Perfect. He's the only character in this game who appears small as the best, but actually he's 190 Cena tall, just like Warrior or Hulk. So people who didn't watch pro wrestling probably thought he was actually a small guy. He uses headlocks, finishes with the perfect plex or a back suplex if there's no space behind him. The back suplex deals significant damage. Perfect's dash attack is a drop kick, similar to a flying knee kick. He's only fast, but he's worse than the other characters in every other way, so he belongs in the jacket tier. If you're skilled at landing that drop kick, you can beat the game with 1 coin using this character. Perfect debuted as his father's tag team partner, following his father's American Wrestling Association stardom. After that, he became a champion in American Wrestling Association and then moved to World Wrestling Federation. Mr. Perfect, a cocky all-around athlete, debuted in 1988. World Wrestling Federation promoted this character as achieving a perfect bowling score, making a behind-the-back half-court basketball shot, hitting home runs, and catching his own football passes to highlight his perfection. They promoted him using numerous sports superstars, including his close friend Wade Boggs, who was inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. He was managed by the villainous Heenan and remained undefeated for nearly a year after his impressive debut. After his manager switched to Genius and he feuded with Hulk Hogan, he was badly beaten and became a personal punching bag. After that, he took a break from his wrestling career, worked as a manager for Heenan and Replayer, and also appeared as a commentator having conversations with Vincent McMahon. However, Replayer and Heenan ended up betraying him, so he returned as a wrestler and had a match with Replayer on Raw, where the loser had to leave World Wrestling Federation and he managed to win. He briefly served as Triple H's mentor before leaving the company. In 1997, he left World Wrestling Federation for World Championship Wrestling, but had little impact and was treated poorly. He made a surprise return at the 2002 Royal Rumble, but was released after the infamous plane ride from hell, and died in 2003 at age 44 from cocaine addiction. The plane ride from hell happened when WWE officials flew back to the United States on a private jet after their European tour. The incident was caused by Vince opening an open bar there, leading to drunken big men wrestling each other and even sexually harassing the stewardesses, turning it into a complete mess. After that, WWE greatly strengthened its crackdown on alcohol and drugs. It's natural since WWE nearly disappeared because of it. This time, let's talk about Sergeant Slaughter, who wore a military pattern t-shirt. He's a hidden strong character in this game, and even though he only has one grab that triggers a grapple, none of his grabs can be countered. Since he's a character who can even do a body slam with his first grab attack, he becomes the strongest character when you play Royal Rumble. The downside is he's slow, and using a dash attack makes it easy to get countered. However, because his grab can't be countered, as long as you understand the game system, he's the easiest character to go for a one-coin clear with. And Surgeon's finishing move, the Cobra Clutch, is famous, but in this game he uses the Mom Spank as his finisher, which is a bit disappointing. Slaughter Saint, a character based on him, appears in the Underground League. It's believed Surgeon allowed this character by giving his permission. Born in 1948, he trained with Vern Gagne and debuted in 1972. In 1980, he joined WWE as the villainous Surgeon Slaughter. He was pushed to the point where he could even feud with Bob Backlund, who was the World Wrestling Federation champion at the time, and Pat Patterson, the Intercontinental champion. Afterwards, he switched to being a face and was active, but for some reason, Vince released Slaughter. He then signed with the American Wrestling Association and had a successful championship career. At that time, World Wrestling Federation wasn't a nationwide organization, so for Slaughter, it wasn't a big problem. Then he went back to World Wrestling Federation as a soldier character, later changing to a pro-Islamic traitor gimmick. During the Gulf War era, he became a top main event heel and defeated Ultimate Warrior at the 1991 Royal Rumble to win the World Wrestling Federation Championship. After that, he feuded with the final boss, Hulk Hogan, and from that point on, his presence gradually faded. Eventually, he had to retire after taking a chair shot the wrong way. In 2004, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, the last character I will introduce is Big Boss Man. This character's dash attack doesn't change based on the opponent's health, but instead alternates between a body slam and a kitchen sink. He's slow and his dash attack has limited range, so his performance is poor. But if you really have good control, your opponent won't be able to dodge, and they might end up getting beaten without even being able to catch their breath. You could say he's the strongest character, but only with a top-level player. Some opponents dodge dash attacks by crouching, but Big Bossman's dash attack can't be avoided this way. Big Bossman worked as a prison guard before becoming a pro wrestler. So he created a gimmick based on his original image. Thanks to his celebration of handcuffing his opponents and hitting them with a nightstick after winning, he rose to the top as a star in less than a year. Later, due to contract issues, he went to Japan and World Championship Wrestling, but eventually returned to World Wrestling Federation. He even had a match with Undertaker and showed an incredible performance. The scenario was that he lost in Hell in a Cell and was hanged, but it's not something you can just do by holding your breath. Holding your breath is the least of your worries. I read that your cervical vertebrae can't support your body weight and would break. I'd like to upload a photo of someone being hanged, but I'm skipping it because I'm afraid of getting banned. And he, who was born in 1963, died of a heart attack in 2004. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016, well after his era. Since I can't see the central processing unit's health, I'm not sure how much damage it's taken. Let's wrap up with Big Boss Man here, and I'll also briefly talk about Warrior and Hulk, who I'm currently playing. Warrior is portrayed as the last member of an Indian tribe, but he's not truly an Indian. He quickly became a superstar with explosive popularity, but Wrestling Observer also called him overrated and exaggerated. Compared to his popularity, he was often harshly criticized for his in-ring performance, and because of issues with his personality and skills, his prime ended quickly. He had a poor relationship with Hogan, but when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, Hogan sought reconciliation, which Warrior accepted. However, less than 2 days after this happened, Warrior passed away. It's strange how being #1 in the world works. Hulk Hogan remains so influential that even today's younger generation has likely heard his name. There's no need to discuss his career highlights. Isn't he the world's greatest entertainer who truly established the concept of modern pro wrestling shows? Hulk Hogan was unique in excelling as both a hero and villain, and I doubt anyone will ever equal that. Hogan has a troubled past. He got into trouble for making racist remarks because his daughter had a relationship with a black man. He was removed from the Hall of Fame list, and all materials related to Hogan were deleted from the official WWE website. He was later reinstated into the Hall of Fame, but it's said that people inside WWE weren't actually that welcoming. This fight is the final stage of the game. As I said in the first playthrough, I'll be careful. If you step out of the ring like this, it's as good as the game being over. I'll keep hitting with the object until the count gets dangerously close. If I time it right, I'll re-enter the ring before the limit and my opponent will be counted out trying to return and lose. Since he couldn't get back in the ring within the 20 count, it's my victory. Since everyone is skilled at this game, I focused more on explaining the characters than the gameplay. So I ended up talking non-stop because there was so much more to say than I expected. That's all from D-Doll. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe.